Good afternoon, folks. Wesley Bray here with Core Scope Insights, your host for Core Scope Insights podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, tonight we've got a very special guest in the studio. And before we get to that, I just want to say hello, everybody. Let you know that we've got some very interesting things coming up for the holidays. So we'll be doing some cash prize giveaways. So make sure you're subscribed to our channel to be qualified for some of the prizes we're going to be giving away. Also, we're just wrapping up here. The end of the year is coming to an end. What a year it's been. And we're looking forward to some great shows in the future. And before I go any further, I'm going to introduce our guest in the studio with us tonight, a very good friend of mine. I have got JoJo, the HVAC man, in here. Most folks know him. So everyone say hello to Joe.
Hello.
All right, Joe, can't thank you enough for being here tonight. So we're going to jump right into it. So, Joe, we got some questions for you here. So, first of all, give us a little bit about your background, how you
Yeah,
became known as JoJo, the HVAC man, and let us know a little bit about how you became an airflow specialist in the world of HVAC.
sure. It's a great question. So yeah, I started back in the Navy back in '88. I was a nuclear Navy. I went to nuclear school down in Orlando, Florida.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I got on submarines. And when I got out, I said I'd never do that again. I never do mechanical work because I was a machinist mate. I'd never do HVAC. I'd never do any of that stuff.
Right.
And, of course, never say never. I ended up coming back full circle. Not only did I go back into HVAC, but even went back into nuclear for a little while. But when I got out, I moved here and ended up taking a job doing HVAC to go to college at Columbia Bible College. But I ended up liking it so much again that I never took a course, ended up doing it for a career. So I did that, started two companies here. And during the process of that, I started really getting into doing high-end stuff, started putting in variable speed equipment. I was R14A certified in 1993, I think it was. And I was installing that stuff in 96. So I was a technician, an installer, company owner, and I sold my company and started working for a carrier as a tech rep and trainer for the whole state of South Carolina. I did that for about 8 years. And then I actually switched over to Train and did the same job for Train for another 7 years. And after that, I went back in the nuclear actually. Went back into the nuclear plant's been built here, was going to be a HVAC specialist for them. And then that project got shut down. I ended up running the program at Midlands Tech that I went to in 92 and came back to run that program for 7 years. And then now I went independent to be a full-time instructor and trainer across the state. Where my love for airflow came was as a tech rep and even as a installer. I took manual JD and manual D just blew my mind. And I realized just I was doing everything wrong,
Right.
because I didn't know any different really. And then whenever I was a tech rep, probably if it wasn't direct equipment failure, then it was an airflow issue all the time. And I found out that nobody really understood airflow. They didn't understand how it works, how to diagnose it. The handometer was the best tool we had.
Sure.
And as long as it was coming out of the vents, we figured that was pretty good. But so I really got really aggressive and I just bought into learning airflow. And my goal is not teach airflow on an engineering level, but I want to understand it on a boots on the ground, usable field level.
Very good,
So,
very good. I had that as a question, so I'm glad you answered that because my next question was what drew you specifically to the science of airflow versus other HVAC matters.
yeah.
So I will skip that because you gave a very detailed answer. Thank you for that. For our listeners, though, out there, Joe, that may not be, they're not technicians or anything. So we got some other listeners, and I know that this show is kind of geared towards the gearheads out there and
Yep.
the distributors and reps and things. But for listeners that may not know HVAC, explain from your perspective why airflow matters much in system performance. If you could give us a little
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mean to catch you off guard, but I mean, I don't think anything really catches you off
No,
guard
no,
with
we're
your
good.
expertise.
Well, and this is the way I explain it to customers that I was trying to explain. I was always doing change outs with full duct systems, like 8 out of 10 quotes.
Sure,
And I got most of them, but I had to take time to explain to the customer why it's important. And really, to me, the HVAC system is a combination of multiple systems. We have the electrical, we got the refrigerant, and we got the air. And just like the human body, we have multiple systems that make up one large system. So to me, I look at, and I know everybody's going to think I was going to say the lungs, but I'm not. So it can be like the lungs, but to me, it's more circulatory. It's more like
sure.
the blood system,
Like veins.
like the veins.
Yep.
So to me, see, the airflow is what carries the heat from the house to the unit and then back out, and
Sure.
then it recirculates it back into the house. And the way I always put it is, it's like the arteries of the heart. You can have a brand new heart, but if the arteries are all clogged up, it don't matter. So you can get a brand new system, but it is utterly dependent upon proper airflow. And the new
Sure.
systems, much better airflow than even the old ones. And so, and then that in itself, if it's not right, I don't care what you got stuck on the outside of that box, you're not going to get it.
Yeah. That leads me to my next question. So, how does improper airflow impact equipment efficiency and also the longevity of the equipment?
Yeah, it's so
I would think it's vitally, I mean, it's
absolutely.
vitally
Well,
important from
let's
our
go back to
standpoint. So,
the
yeah,
blood, right?
right.
All
Absolutely.
right. So, the silent killer is high blood pressure.
Hmm.
People don't know they have it. They don't until it's too late. Most of the time, unless it's caught by a professional. Uh, Airflow's the same way. The equipment's running.
Sure.
I can tell everybody else, we're all alive, right?
Right.
But we go to the doctor.
Sure.
He's not going to always give us a great report, and we're not dead, but we ain't doing great.
Right.
So the same thing, and these studies have been out there. They've studied airflow across units for ever, and it's always about the same results. 75 to 80% of the systems are have improper airflow,
Right.
and
And
therefore,
what are some of the red flags though that would indicate to a homeowner which
yeah,
may not ever know it? They're living in a house where either the duct's oversized or undersized or equipment's either undersized. But what are some of the red flags?
yeah,
Maybe if you can
yeah.
speak to that for a little bit.
Well, it's kind of like the high blood pressure.
Sure.
It's not easy to detect, right? Because it may be keeping temperature, but it could be run excessively long to do that. Um, Freezing up coils is very, very easy to understand low airflow. Another one, which this is a telltale sign of a restrictive duct system, is if your filter is bowed in, your filter grill,
Yeah.
and
Telltale
it's
sign.
concave and you can't pull it out when that thing's running, I guarantee you, we got something going on there,
Undersized
right? It
system.
should not be
Yep.
that way, right?
Right.
And the reverse, if you got a filter that as soon as you open it up, it just falls out while the unit's running, well, then that's kind of the opposite. We're not pulling through the filter. If your
Sure.
filters are always clean, you're not probably pulling air through unless you live in a very, very, very clean home. So those are some key indicators that may be, and also, of course, if you've got some vents that have no airflow coming out of them and others have more airflow coming out of them, that's not only is that an imbalance, but also could be an indicator of the improper airflow going across the equipment itself.
Sure. And tell us, how much does duct design and installation, how much does that play a part of the airflow that you have as far as restrictions? Do you ever see? I know when our house was built, and I don't want to throw any. I know who built the
Yeah,
house,
yeah, yeah,
but I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
we
yeah.
had duct work when we
Yeah.
first moved in. That was just wrapped around a 2x4, so there was a kink in it, even when the airflow, and it was pulled so tight. And had I not known a little bit,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I really, but I mean, poor
Oh,
installation on a
yeah.
job can
It's
really be
yeah.
detrimental as
It
well.
it's it is the detrimental. So everything goes back to duct design. Everything. And there's some key things that you can do. And my motto is you can make some small changes to get big results.
Sure, absolutely,
And so yeah, so duct work, air needs to be straight as possible.
sure,
And the number one killer for airflow through duct systems is turbulence. That's worse than undersized duct. All right, but now usually the duct's already undersized, but then you add turbulence, and it doesn't just double the problem; it compounds the problem.
Is that the number one problem that you see out in the field or restrictions you encounter? Is
Yeah,
that
it's
what you?
turbulence. Yeah, and a lot of it is due to the short plenum boxes that are used all the time. It's just a box off the unit, and then they just throw out the ductwork on it, like you're talking about. Willy nilly. I always say we don't want the flex duct to look like a Chinese water dragon under the house or in the attic. They needs to be straight and tight, but the main
Sure.
trunk needs to be like a like a tree.
Right.
As much as
Right.
possible. Now, people say, "Well, we don't have room." I've ripped out and installed hundreds, if not 1,000 duct systems. I've designed them, we've put them in, and we've tested them, and you can do it. You can do it. Now, I've got all kinds of different ways that I've gone to companies that have no idea how to fix it, and I can go out and I promise you, I can show you how to do a duct design that will resolve so many problems.
Sure.
I did it over and over as a tech rep. I've done it as a consultant, and I can get you out of a jam. I've taught companies in Texas via the web,
Right.
doing a webinar training, and they all their problems have been eliminated. Major companies, nationwide companies that have nothing but callbacks after callbacks. And once I showed them, laid down the foundational, really just 4 or 5 basic duct design principles, no problems.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we're going to take a short break here. We're going to recognize our sponsors. So please hang tight with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with JoJo, the HVAC man. Y'all stay tuned. When your business depends on reliable cooling, you need a partner who understands the science behind keeping things running. That's Hudson Technologies, America's leader in refrigerant solutions. From recovery and reclamation to the refrigerants you rely on every day, Hudson delivers certified, high-quality products that keep HVAC systems, commercial facilities, and industrial operations performing at their peak. Their unmatched reclamation network means you get refrigerant you need, pure, tested, and ready for service. And with Hudson's commitment to sustainability, you're not just keeping systems running, you're helping protect the future of the industry itself. When performance matters, trust the team with the experience, the technology, and the supply to keep you moving. Hudson Technologies, refrigerants reimagined. Learn more at hudsontech.com. When you're ready to feel refreshed, confident, and completely taken care of, it's time for a visit to Naughty Oak Salon in Lexington, South Carolina. From precision cuts and vibrant color to smoothing treatments, styling, and also hair transformations, their talented stylists bring out the best in your look every time. At Naughty Oak Salon, you're more than an appointment, you're a guest. A place where the atmosphere is warm, the conversations are real, and the results speak for themselves. Whether you're updating your style, preparing for a special occasion, or just treating yourself, Naughty Oak Salon delivers personalized care with professional flair. Call 803-394-5114 to book your appointment today. That's 803-394-5114. Welcome back out there. Hey, it's another special thank you to our sponsors, but we're going to continue our talk here with JoJo, the HVAC man. So, hey, I got a question I want to ask you. Talking airflow, do you have a specific situation where maybe other contractors or people trying to help the homeowner out were struggling, but you were able to come in and offer a solution? And could you expand upon that with what that solution was, Joe?
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, so many stories I've got especially as a tech rep, able to go out to houses all over the South Carolina. But I would say one of the ones that comes to mind, it was a unit it was a fairly new unit, a top notch brand, and it was their top tier. And it lost one compressor, two reversing valves, and blew out a discharge line.
Oh boy.
And when I walked up to the job, not only was the homeowner there, contractor, technicians, a lawyer, and the building contractor was there. He had a lemon sitting on top of that unit.
He had a what?
A lemon sitting on top of the unit.
That's iconic there.
I tell you what. So, I said, let's go up and look at the air. Of course, had to sit around, do kumbaya together for a little bit and get everybody, So every time I went to a job, I just tell you this, fixing a unit was not a concern of mine. We're
Right.
gonna fix a unit.
Right.
It was fixing the relationships.
Sure.
And that's always,
Absolutely.
we gotta remember that.
That's always first
That's the
important.
key thing, is relationships. And so, we can fix it. It's mechanical. There's something going on. So I went up to the attic. Well, it was the largest air handler made, 5-ton beast, and it was in a house there where the attic went, this way, and then it went this way, and then it went backwards.
Right.
So they couldn't figure out what to do. So they laid the air handler in one direction. The problem was is that they had it maybe 4 to 5 feet away from the edge of the house, so they had a real short return box,
Oh, okay.
and then on the supply, they came out with another box, and then they just deadheaded it, a bullhead T, which is, like, the worst. I could help you understand how that is at some point.
They downsize it too? Did
Oh,
they
no, no, well,
Oh,
first they had the
really?
box.
Okay.
Well, then they went to the left, uh, to another box and spidered out of that with flex, and then went down to another box, spidered with flex.
Uh,
Alright, and then they came out of the top of the box and went backwards to the other side, and then went out the end of it to the other. It was a mess. Alright, so, of course, one half of the house got no air, and the other half was getting a lot of air, and then in the middle portion, nothing, and it had a variable speed motor, true variable speed motor.
oh,
That joke was ramped up like a hurricane trying to
sure.
overcome the static pressure in that box. So, here's what we ended up doing. I did this a lot. We took off the box, all right, and I didn't, didn't have to redesign everything. Could have, but there's some small changes to get big results. We always get rid of the boxes, do a squared around, and we did a round elbow and came up with a Y, basically what I call a whale's tail. And then we opened up the air, made it larger, and ran it over that other box that had flex coming out of it. And we could redo that, but I'm just going to leave that alone. All right.
Mhm.
And then we was able to redirect the other air the other way without going off the top of a box. All right. Basically,
Right.
we went to the other side, and yeah, it was a left and right wing. That's what it was. And then the return the same way. We got rid of the box, did a squared around with a round elbow, same depth as a box. Squared around's a foot, a round elbow's about another foot. So as long as you got about 2.5 feet, you can
Right.
do it.
Sure.
And we came up with a whale's tail, and we caught the two returns now. So we're smoothing air in and smoothing air out.
Right.
And I'd love to give you an analogy of my putt-putt analogy if you got time.
You got it.
All right, but, and so that opened the airflow up. It opened the nostrils up of the unit, and the energy of the air now coming in and going out got a chance to go somewhere.
Sure.
It was all trapped in them boxes.
Restricted.
Once we did that, the variable speed motor ramped down. We stopped pulling water out of the drain lines and blowing across the motor. Oh, I was losing variable speed motors too. Um, Everything came down. We pulled the amp draw of the motor before and after, almost cut it in half, which means it was now
Right.
down to
Ramped up.
right. The subcooling came in line, superheat. Now the TXV was doing its darndest to hold everything in charge. So, but after that, everything's smoothed out. The homeowner had even temperatures across the house. They never lost another compressor, no other parts, but it all had to do with that. And everybody didn't, they just didn't quite know how to address the problem. They kept thinking it was the equipment when it was the airflow all along.
Gotcha, gotcha. That's a great answer. That's a good analogy there. It gives everybody, even myself, I'm not the most technical person in the world, but it gives you a good overview of what can be done if you just take the time and you hit it on the nail. You got to get the customer satisfied. You got to solve the problem and keep the customer intact. Let me ask you this: what do homeowners unintentionally create? Let me ask this: how do homeowners unintentionally
Yeah.
create airflow problems that they're maybe unaware of?
No problem. And it's a challenge. It is a challenge. But number one, we forget we have filters in the unit. So, I can't stress change the filters, change the filters, change the filters. And be
Mhm.
careful what filters you buy. All right. They buy the high dollar allergy filters, thinking they're doing a good job. They are so restrictive, they're killing the unit. The unit has to be designed for those higher end filters. If it is not pre-designed, then that unit was only designed for the cheapest throwaway possible. And
Sure.
unless you have a contractor come in and redesign it to fit, now if they get some really high-end electronic air cleaners or some specialized filters that have a very low pressure drop,
Sure.
might can get away with it. Okay. So, but let me just talk
There
about
are some very good electronic
oh,
air
they're
cleaners
awesome.
out there, some MERV 13, some
I've done tests, pressure
right,
drop tests against different MERV rated filters,
right.
depending on the manufacturer and the design. Some higher MERVs have less pressure drop
Less
than lower
pressure. That's
MERV. And so, yeah, and that's a whole nother study I've done. But you take from a homeowner, change that filter, and I'll tell you every 30 days, whether it looks like it needs it or not, unless you just have like it's just two of you and your house is immaculate. But if, and then of course, the more activity, the more pets you have, the more often you do change it. That's the first thing.
absolutely.
The other thing that homeowners do, they don't really understand that they're doing is they're blocking their vents with furniture,
Sure.
and the air has to get up and out into the room. Yeah, and if there's dressers over the vents, there's couches up against the returns, it can't breathe, it can't do the job. So, and you got to come up with strategic ways to open up those airways because if not, we're clogging the airways. And you can have the best duct system design in the world, but the end result is those registers. And if they're clogged, or I mean blocked off or closed off, and don't close vents to redirect airflow. That's not a good strategy. There's different strategies for that. So,
Deal.
yeah.
So it leads me to my next question. Are there any new tools available out on the market or products or technologies that are changing the way we measure and manage airflow? Or
Absolutely,
would you like to
absolutely.
talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah. So there are now tools now where they can slide them right inside the unit and get a very accurate airflow across the unit. And where we didn't have that before. This is
Right.
a fairly new tool that's been out for a few years, and I can't think of anybody else that got one like it. That's one of them. Also, the standard tools that we've had, we just got to know how to use them correctly.
Sure.
That I've
Sure.
used over the years until this new one came out. That kind of makes it a little bit easier with our Bluetooth technology. And then they've got now flow hoods that are very inexpensive to snap your smart. You used to pay a lot of money for flow hoods because all the money was in the technology inside the flow hood. Well, now you can just get just the frame,
Right.
and your phone is all the technology,
Sure.
and it will Bluetooth to the sensor in the flow hood.
Sure.
And they make them to fit residential as well as commercial. They're awesome. So we have much better tools, a lot easier way to read airflow these days.
That kind of leads me to my next part of that question I had for you was, do you feel like modern ECM motors and the HVAC controls that are variable speed affect the airflow strategy? And there's kind of a two part to that. Where do you see the biggest opportunities for improvement in current system designs? If you want to touch on those two together, and on, we'll try to go with the short answer of that if there is one, but
There is
I'll
one.
leave it to you.
All right, so ECM motors are now the standard. Okay,
Sure.
so we're not, and so but ECM motors have been around for a long time.
Right.
Variable speed motors been out since GE put them out, and the first version was 1.0. 2.3 version was the most common that most people knew, and now we got in communicating was 3.0 and bigger, and now the manufacturers are making them. But we got two ECM motors out. We've got constant airflow, which is what we all refer to as a true variable speed motor.
Right.
But then there's constant torque, which has replaced the PSC motor, and they're good. They're great. Um, they both have limits, and they both have design criteria that you want to be aware of. If not, they can create. They will become a problem not by themselves, but because of the duct design they're stuck into. And so your other question was some design ideas, right?
Sure.
There's real fast. All right. Get rid of the boxes, go square to rounds, and then use round Ys to split the air if you're going to go left and right down a, path rather than a bullhead T. All right.
Good deal. You see, I'm not stopping you there.
Oh, I
You're
got
good.
one more. When you run your flex, always go up one size from hard pipe. Don't go. It is not the same.
Gotcha.
So if you go a 14 hard pipe, don't split the two 12 flexes, split the two 14 flexes.
Right. I had to
Um,
adjust my glasses.
and then last, if you got any turns, use a hard elbow. Don't turn the flex.
Gotcha. All good points. Well, folks, we're going to take another break here, recognize our sponsors again. But hey, thank you for sticking with us and stay tuned. We're going to have more great information from JoJo, the HVAC man. So y'all stay tuned. Thank you so much. Heating and air. From quick, dependable repairs to installing modern, energy efficient systems, Bruce Brown keeps your home feeling just right, no matter the season. Their certified technicians show up on time, diagnose issues accurately, and deliver honest, reliable service you can count on. No pressure, no surprises, just a local team committed to keeping your family comfortable all year round. Need a repair? Ready for an upgrade? Trust the pros who put customers first. For your comfort needs, call 843-264-5483. When you need serious protection for the places that take the toughest beatings, you need Rhino Linings of Lexington. From truck bed liners that stand up to work, weather, and weekend adventures, to hunting dog boxes, boats, or ATVs, and anywhere you want a tough, non-slip surface, you can trust Rhino to keep it protected, durable, and looking sharp. Family owned and dedicated to quality, Rhino Linings of Lexington delivers the kind of long-lasting strength you can feel every time you put your gear to work. Stop by and see them today at 108 White Oak Lane in Lexington, South Carolina, or call 803-794-9257 to schedule your install. That's Rhino Linings of Lexington. Protect it once, protect it for good. Visit rhinoliningslexington.com. All right, folks. Thank y'all staying with us here. We're making way and learning a lot tonight with JoJo, the HVAC man. So, JoJo, I'm gonna continue right along. I got a couple of questions, and I'm trying to put out content that people want to know and hear about. And with your expertise, I feel like we've got one of the best in the country to answer these questions. Rolling right along. Do you think the HVAC industry trains technicians to diagnose airflow issues? And if not, what can we do better to get better training for our guys?
We can do better.
We can do better. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it has been the weakest of all training. There are true airheads out there. We call ourselves airheads, but we're a few in number as far as I can see.
Yeah.
There are,
What is your advice to techs though that want to get better
Yeah.
at this? I mean,
I would. They need to get good personal training from some of these guys. I mean, I'm one of them. I believe I do a good job. I enjoy it. It's a passion of mine. There are other podcasters that, I don't know if we want to list them now or not, but, that are good airflow guys. But NCI teaches good airflow. We've got Brian Orr down there with HVAC Symposium. I'll be down there in Florida doing training on his symposium here soon, but he's got some good airflow training. And really, my passion is to do special airflow training. And so
sure.
I wish I could point to a lot of resources, but there's not. But I'll tell you, the Manual D is the guideline, and it is not wrong. And for zoning, it's Manual ZR, and the two go hand in hand. Zoning is a whole lot more than just dampers.
Does that tie in also with the Manual J, or how does the Manual J come into that as well? You hear so much
They
about
all
the
go
Manual J.
together.
Yeah.
So, Manual J is determine basically how big of a unit you need.
Right.
And then it also tells you how much air you need in each area to do the job, right? And then you use that to design your duct system using Manual D. Where I like to get involved is once it's installed, how to correct existing issues without having to really do a full revamp. But if you do a full revamp, then we can go back to Manual D and cross all the T's and dot the I's. But I'm telling you, you can make some small changes to get big results.
Right. Good answer. So if you could give homeowners or technicians one piece of advice about airflow, what would it be? Just one piece of advice.
But independent for each one?
Independent for each one. Yes.
Homeowners, don't block the vents, change the filters.
Good.
Technicians, stop doing bullhead tees, do spread arounds and round.
Good. So we're coming to that part here in a minute, and folks, in a minute we're going to do our prize giveaway. So, but stay tuned. But just in the next, as we wrap up, I just want to give Joe opportunity. Joe, tell the listeners where they can find out more about you and some of the upcoming events you've got going on. And also, I want to put this out there, and I don't want to speak for you. I'm going to let you talk to it, but I want to let you know, to our listeners out there, Joe does travel the country, training HVAC technicians, doing classes for distributors. His classes are phenomenal if you've never been to one, and his expertise is next level. So if you've got guys that you want trained, and Joe, do you have a specific size? I know I don't want to step on your thunder, but why don't you tell? I'm gonna shut up, folks. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna let Joe talk here. So, Joe, tell our listening audience out there what services you provide and a
Sure.
little bit
Yeah.
about where you're going to be.
So I do all training on all HVAC, electrical, refrigeration, and air. And I do residential and I do light commercial training. I also do training for office professionals to help them understand HVAC in a terminology where they can relate better to the customer and to the technician. So I do all levels of that. I do have a catalog I can send out, but I customize every training anybody needs. I do webinars all the time for corporations across the country. And like you said, I travel also to do in person for national accounts as well as independent contractors and associations. And, you can, look me up. My website right now is being redesigned.
Okay.
And so, but I do have a YouTube channel, which is, and it's Joejoe, not Jojo. So Joejoe, the HVAC man. YouTube channel. You can just look it up that way. I'm Joey Henderson. And then also I have a very active TikTok channel as well. And there's Instagram and LinkedIn has things going on as well. So,
Sure. So you're
uh,
very well across social platforms.
yeah, yeah, it goes
And some
across.
very entertaining content, folks. I hope you'll take time to watch some of his content on TikTok, also on LinkedIn. I've never watched any of his content that wasn't entertaining and where I didn't pick up and learn something. So great content. Keep that up. Keep that coming because we love it in our industry. We don't,
Well, for
there's
me,
always
my goal is one to make complex simple. So
sure.
my logo is HVAC made simple. I like to have it fun, and I also like to make it a very engaging experience.
And do you want people to call you also? I know, do you want to?
They could, but I think I'd rather just email me
Sure.
first. And
Gotcha. Great.
Jojo the HVAC man at gmail.com.
Perfect.
Joe the HVAC
Perfect.
man at gmail.com.
Well, folks, we're winding down, but hey, we're going to be right back here. We're just going to get in position here and we're going to put the prize wheel on the table here and get our camera angled on that. And we're going to do that so that we can give a great prize to somebody tonight. And while we do that, we're just going to hold our fingers tight and hope that you're the lucky winner. So bear with me. I'm going to move over to the table here with JoJo. We're going to put the prize wheel up there and we're going to put the little golden spinner up. So just bear with us. We'll be set tight and we'll do a couple of room arrangements and be right back. All right, folks, welcome back. It's one of those conversations you hate to see come to an end, but we're at that point of the show where we're ready to give away some great prizes. So good luck to you out there. JoJo, if you don't mind us being a guest on the show, I always like to do this. I'm going to let you spin the wheel here.
All right.
And just reach over and give it a good spin, and let's see what someone wins tonight. Somebody got a core scope hat. We'll say that's a bonus.
That's right.
Let's give somebody else something outside the core.
Big money. Big money. Money.
Let's do it a third time. Some core scope hat. I promise.
I'm terrible at it. Don't ever let me play in Vegas.
$50 gift card to Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah. That's what we're talking
more
about.
like
That's
it.
what we're talking about.
$50 gift card to Outback Steakhouse here. Can you hold this camera up? I'm going to move it in there so they see what they won. I'll move it closer. Like that. All right. All right. So we're going to move that out of the way. So somebody's got a $50 gift card to Outback Steakhouse. Who doesn't like Outback? Hey,
That's right.
The blooming onion, for goodness sake. Right. So, JoJo, I'm going to let you open up the surprise wheel here after you spin it, shuffle it up real good.
Right.
And let's see who our winner is for tonight. Push it forward. There we go. Pull us out a winner. All righty. Let's see. Our winner is William Bostic. William Bostic. And William had a comment on the back. He said, have an HVAC contractor or expert give homeowners advice about winterizing equipment for effectiveness.
That's a great topic.
We'll have to do that another show.
We can do it.
All righty. Folks, that's going to wrap it up tonight from me and JoJo, the HVAC man. We hope y'all have enjoyed the show, and we'll be back. Catch us, stay tuned. But hey, always go to that YouTube channel, hit subscribe, hit the like button, give us a thumbs up, give us a comment. And what did you say they need to do, JoJo?
Notification.
Hit that notification. All right, on 3, 2, 1. Let's wave them out together.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Have a great night, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye.